In today's Mainly Games, we review Grindhouse, Anomia, and From Our Shelf of Shame on Tour. Also, we are going to give our top 10 party game night tips. Well, let's get started. I'm Joey.
And I'm Alex.
And welcome to another episode of Mainly Games.
It's good to be here.
Yes, and sorry last week for skipping.
I know. It was a crazy week.
Yeah, our daughter was sick, so we kept trying to record and ended up not recording. So this week we are going to have 2 episodes for you.
We are. Bonus week.
We are going to catch up.
We are.
Because we actually did play games while our daughter was sick. Does that sound bad?
No, it doesn't. She slept a lot.
She did, yeah. But we had to get her ready for Halloween
Yeah,
night.
I know. That's exactly it.
That was the thing. Now, one thing we were going to do last week is I was going to do some horror trivia.
Okay.
You know, because as a lot of you know, that my wife loves horror. We both love horror movies.
Yes.
So I had all these great questions planned, but we have missed Halloween week.
I know. We did today start watching Hubie's Halloween on Netflix.
We did. We're still, I mean, I know most people are putting up their Christmas decorations, but...
Which will be us too. By the end of this week, the Christmas tree will be up.
We're watching Hubie Halloween, and that's, for you that don't know, it's Jim Carrey, right?
No, Adam Sandler. Sorry. My goodness.
They're interchangeable.
Whoa, are they?
No. All right, Adam Sandler.
Yeah.
And I was going to skip over it, but somebody told me it was really good.
Yeah.
And so far, I'm impressed.
I really, really like it. I did have trouble focusing on it because our little dog, who is a year and a half old, was getting into everything as we decided to sit down and watch a movie. She was perfect. You know why we were not sitting on the couch? And as soon as we sat on that couch, she was in everything. It was very frustrating.
Yes.
So anyway.
So that's... Okay, so what I was going to bring up is we were going to do some trivia on horror.
Yes.
And I was going to ask my wife some questions, but we'll just save that, put a pin in it until next year. Yeah. However, there's one question that I came up with, and I looked up, and I was surprised by the answer.
Oh, okay. Tell me. What is it?
Okay, so I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
Now, this is one of your favorites. Her favorite is Creature.
Creature from Black Lagoon. Yeah.
Right. But she also loves, of course, Frankenstein.
I do.
And what are the only 2 movies ever to get 100% on Rotten Tomatoes?
Frankenstein and the Bride of Frankenstein.
Yes, they are. So
some people would say part 1 and part 2.
Yes,
Watch
exactly.
them back to back.
Okay, so I will ask you this. Name how many people, there are too many people to name because there's so many of these.
Okay.
How many people have played Frankenstein's monster?
Okay, the monster.
Right,
okay.
Let's see who you know. How many can you get here?
I've got Boris Karloff.
Of course.
I have Lon Chaney Jr.
Yes. Wow. You went, okay. All right.
Okay. Then I would have Bela Lugosi.
Yes.
Yeah. He eventually did it. If he had done it in the first place, his woes would have never happened. But
this is true.
Side note. Okay.
You could probably get 1 more, maybe 2 more, but I think 1 more at least. And that's in the Hammer era.
Oh my goodness. What's that guy's name? Yeah. I forget him.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah. Yes. I was also thinking, didn't one of the Abbott and Costellos played one of the monsters or something?
No, but Glenn Strange played it in the Abbott and Costello
Okay, that's
movies.
what I was thinking. Someone played it in one of those ones, but I couldn't remember his name either. Okay.
Yeah, and another one that I did not know, Peter Boyle.
Really?
Yeah, Peter Boyle was famous from Everybody Loves Raymond.
Okay, he was the dad. That's right. He was the monster in Young Frankenstein, right?
Yes, he was.
That's a great movie, too.
And Robert De Niro played it.
Really?
Here is one. Aaron Eckhart also in I, Frankenstein, which I didn't watch that.
No.
Another one that played Frankenstein that I did not know. Sting.
What?
Sting.
Okay, segue. We did not talk about this. We just finished watching Only Murders in the Building, the Hulu channel, right?
Yes.
That is a great miniseries, and I hope they keep it as a miniseries.
It's not.
I know. I hope they do. It left on the perfect note. That was a great... It mentioned Sting because Sting is in that show. But anyway, that is... If you have not watched that is a great show.
No one's really... I saw someone on Facebook that watched it, and they loved it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no one's heard about this.
No.
Because it's Only Murders in the Building, and the whole premise behind it, it's Martin Short... and Steve Martin.
And Selena Gomez.
I
know. You don't expect her with Martin Short and Steve Martin. Yeah.
And these 3 happen to live in the same building.
In New York.
Is it New York or
I think
California?
it's New York. No. It's because they talk about Long Island, so that's New York, right?
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right.
Okay.
It is New York. So they're all there, and they're all famous, like the 2 older people, Steve Martin and Martin... Martin Short.
Whoa.
Yeah. So they're both directors and movie stars and whatever. Yeah. And of course, Selena Gomez is just staying at her aunt's place. Yeah. But it's a very cute little relationship they all get.
It is.
When someone gets murdered. and they decide to start a podcast.
Yes.
Reporting about the murder.
Yes, in their building. Yes.
And it's just very cute, very endearing.
Uh-huh.
And there's a couple episodes that it's almost Hitchcockian.
Yes.
On the way they do it.
Uh-huh.
And
I think that's why I like it, because it does have that Hitchcock feel, which finding that Hitchcock feel this day and age is hard to find.
It is. It almost has a Hitchcock / Columbo feel. Mm-hmm. Because I can't recommend it strongly enough.
If you're not watching that, stop what you're doing, watch it. It's a
really
great.
good.
There's only like 12 episodes, right?
I think there's like 9.
Or maybe there's only... So there's not that many.
No, which is good. It's not a huge time commitment.
And Tina Fey's in it too, by the way.
She is. She
makes a brief appearance.
Yep. And there's a couple other people that come in and come out.
Yeah.
But and that's really good. And 9 episodes, you can do that. One season.
Yeah.
Kind of like Supernatural. I really want to watch that, but that's a commitment.
That's a lifelong commitment. What are they, like 100 seasons of that now?
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's crazy. Silly. Yeah.
So anyway,
Okay.
Only Murders in the Building. And we talk about movies we've seen. We did go to see Carnage.
We did. That's a great movie too.
It is short.
Yes.
But honestly...
I'm okay with that. I didn't have a problem with the length.
That is the biggest complaint people tell me about Carnage is it was too short.
Really?
It was too short. Which is fine. That kind of is a good complaint to have.
Yeah.
Because then you're like, I wish there was more of it.
Yes.
The worst complaint is, it was way too long. That right there makes me not want to watch a movie.
Yeah. Knowing
it's too short I can do that.
And I think Marvel has ruined us getting used to these 3.5-hour movies.
They have.
That kind of is something, too, that you're up against there. I thought the length was perfect, to tell you the truth. The story made sense in the amount of time it was told.
Right.
You didn't drag on. It worked. It was really good. That had a great banter.
It did.
I loved that. There were a couple of times where you just kept giggling. Like, it was just so funny.
It was almost a bromance.
Yes.
You know, it was very
I have that
cute.
on my notes. Yeah, bromance. Yeah.
So Carnage, I'd recommend it if you like the whole Marvel. And there is an end credit scene, so make sure. Let's spoil it for you.
Yeah, no.
No, let's not.
We would not do that.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Oh, great movie. Yeah. Should we say how we took Juliet to it?
Well, I wasn't going to. That kind of ranks under bad parenting.
No. Well, your sister-in-law told us. She saw it first and said, hey, Juliet will like it.
Yeah, but she also said she liked Venom as well.
True. That was a mistake.
And she did like Venom, but at 5, she was probably too young. But we took her to Carnage, and she loved it.
She loved Carnage. I was going to share how she had her big bucket of popcorn there, and she took a purse to the movies, got all dressed up for the movies, and in her purse was a spoon.
She had smuggled a spoon in so she could eat her popcorn with a spoon.
Yeah, so she sat there in one of those chairs with a booster seat, eating her popcorn with a spoon. Yeah, that happened.
And then did you notice that we were all sitting there?
Yeah.
We went, of course, late. It's been out for 3 or 4 weeks, right? We had a group of maybe 10 of us.
It was the last night showing, I think. Yeah.
About 10 of us.
Yeah.
And we were only ones in the theater, which is nice.
Uh-huh.
Then another couple comes in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And we watch them come in. And it's kind of one of those things, just like, it's no longer our theater, right?
No.
So we're kind of watching them. And I am not lying, people. They walk up and down the aisles. Then they go and they sit directly in front of us.
Yes, and directly in front of her. They were tall.
They were tall in front of Juliet.
Yes.
And it's just like...
So we had to get a little booster for her.
It was, but they were actually very nice and they laughed every time Juliet would hide her eyes or whatever.
There were a few times she screamed.
Yes.
That was kind of fun. But it was like a good scream.
And there was one time they said, I think they said the F word.
Yes.
And then the guy in front turns around and goes, truck. They're talking about trucks.
Yes.
And she's like, okay,
all right. I got that.
So,
that was nice.
So
yes.
It was fun. And now we know she likes the movies.
Yes. The previews were rough, though.
Previews were
They were rough, but that's okay. We closed our eyes through some of those previews.
Yeah, the previews are worse than the movie.
Yeah.
As far as it was like, there's a lot of horror movies coming out.
Yeah, there are a lot of exorcism kind of things, right? Yeah.
I think it's because people have been locked down because of COVID for so long. They're just so angry. You're like, you know what? I'm going to talk about horror. And it's just...
I'm going to go see a horror movie. Yeah.
A right one.
Yes.
Just, it was crazy.
Hello. Yeah, there's some movies coming out. Yes.
Yeah. So, all right. So that is Carnage. So let's talk about games. Like I said before, we are going to review several games. And at the end, we are going to give our party game night tips.
Yep. Okay.
I kind of spaced that out weird. Party game night. Party
night game tips.
Party game night tips.
No. Party night. Oh, you got me saying it. Party game night tips.
No,
hang on.
Party game night tips. Okay. I'm right.
Yes.
Party game night
I think
tips.
I said that too, and then I messed it up completely.
Okay.
Right.
So we are going to give that because we had our Halloween party, our annual Halloween party.
We did.
And normally that's a big night for entertainers, but we do take that year off.
That
night.
The
night off.
we take years off. Unless we're locked down in the house and can't leave.
I'm sorry. We're taking this year off because of Halloween. How about next year? Is there a Halloween? No. Okay, so we take that night off because of Halloween. And we had a good group. We had about 30.
We did. We had about 30 people.
Yep. And we had everything planned out for having different ways this party can go.
Yep.
And it was interesting because it started with 30, then it kind of dwindles down after trick-or-treating, after the food and all this. Some stay, some don't. Some have to work the next day. It wasn't a Sunday.
Yeah.
So we kind of had to pivot. And we're going to talk about that later as we talk about party game night tips.
Yeah.
Because I got to stop saying that. I giggle every time now. But because people do ask about how to put on a party game night.
Yeah.
Now, this is not game night tips.
No.
Okay.
That's completely different.
Game night, that's what you have to compartmentalize.
Yes.
Game nights are different than party game nights.
Yeah.
Now, party game night is when you want to have a party and play games.
Yeah. Hey.
And a game night is when you want to just play games with your serious, and you could have 4 to 8 people, I think.
Yeah.
Past that, it's going to be a bit difficult unless you live in like a really large place.
Yeah.
Because even for me, playing 2 board games in the same room is always difficult.
Yes.
But so anyway, we're going to talk about having that because honestly, it's fun to have. It recharges us. It's not very expensive. You already have the games. Might as well get people playing it. And people always, they're so appreciative.
Yeah.
Especially through everything everyone's gone through the last couple of years. They miss people.
Yeah,
and being
people
around,
like being around people.
They do. They do. And it's just
I think
fun.
people are meant to be around people.
Wow, that's deep.
I know, right?
That is depth. This is the Mainly Depth podcast.
Nuggets of little
knowledge?
Yeah, there we go.
You were searching for the word. I was like, do I let her? Do I let her keep going or kind of toss it to her?
Yeah.
Okay, so, right.
I was going to say wisdom, but I was like, it's not really wisdom. That was where I was stuck at.
Okay, so let's go to our first review.
Okay.
And we are reviewing Grindhouse.
Yes.
And that is from Everything Epic Games. Now,
and it's from 2020, right? So it came out last year?
It does. It is one that I remember seeing at Gen Con.
Yes.
And I thought I saw it before. It came out in 2020.
It came out in 2020, it said. So.
Okay, I guess I've seen it online. I'd be excited to play this game only because of the cover.
Yes.
Now, I have created a saying that you can't judge a game by its cover.
Yeah.
Now, I made up that saying completely in my mind. It's not pivoted from anything else.
No.
But anyway, so this is Grindhouse. And it plays about 20 to 30 minutes. And the type of game, it's a unique style of game. Here's pretty much what it is. What's nice is it's very thematic, almost along the whole realm of Night Cage, where you need to kind of be into it, and you need to invest in your character.
Yep.
And it's fun, and you're all going to see how long you can spend at a Grindhouse.
Yeah.
And it's not a dance factory like it sounds.
It's a haunted house.
Yeah, it's like a horror house.
Yeah.
People have died.
Yes.
But it's interesting where everyone has characters, and you just have to go through 5 rooms. And
the 5 rooms are laid out in front of you on the mat.
Yep. And it comes with a mat.
Yep.
And then different things will happen. What's neat is if you get wounded, you then replace your arm with a wounded arm.
Yep.
And if you have to flip it again, then you're missing your arm.
Yep. You have no arm.
So then, honestly, by the 3rd or 4th room, you're going to be missing limbs.
Yeah.
Right? You're going to be missing 2 limbs or 3 limbs. And we had one person that was missing 4 limbs.
Yeah.
Right? But if you lose your head or your torso, you die.
Yeah.
Okay?
You're dead.
So pretty much it all comes down, it's very thematic because you read what happens in the room. Like one could be the laboratory. And you're exploring this house. And you walk in and there's a man pouring liquid from one beaker to another, all this stuff. And it describes what happens and then tells you what you have to roll. Everyone may have to roll something, and you may have to hit a 4, 5, or 6, a 5 or 6. So it's very luck-based.
Yes, it is very luck-based.
But it's very story-driven.
Yes, and I have no problem that it's luck-based because I feel like if I was actually in the horror house, it would really be a lucky thing of whether I would make it out or not. So really, I have no problem with that. I know some people don't like when games are luck-based and it's all based on the game and all that stuff. I have no problem with that. In this situation too, I do really like how the cards for each room are such in depth. Even though they're a tiny story, you have a lot of knowledge and you can really immerse yourself in that scene.
Yeah, you walk.
Yeah.
And we won't tell you what happens, but I mean, you walk in and it describes a scene that you're walking into.
Yes. It's hard to not ruin it, by the way, because I want to just say stuff, but I'm like, no. So,
and it's kind of like there's one thing that you walk in and you walk into the chapel and there's a wedding going on and the woman there's a ghost there and the bridal gown and all that stuff. And they're looking for one person to be the groom. Who volunteers to be the groom? And it's like, woof, so one guy has to say, you know what? I'm going to be the groom. And sometimes, it might be the person who walks up is the only one that does not get hurt.
Yeah.
Sometimes he's the one that gets hurt.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting in that aspect.
Yes.
And I like how you said thematic because that's what I heard someone review Night Cage. And they mentioned how you don't win every time, but that is the most thematic thing about it.
Yeah.
Because if you were going through, you're on your knees trying to escape a monster, odds are you probably won't make it a lot of the times.
Yeah.
And if you go to survive in one night in a house for $2 million...
I think it's $10 million.
$10 million. You might not survive. So,
I think every time I played it, I have died, which I'm kind of okay with that because, so it's luck-based and it's fine. But it's such a great story.
It really is. And the whole thing is now, as far as replayability, it does tell you to kind of keep the cards separate.
Yep.
As you go through the cards, take the 5 that you've used, put them into a separate place.
Yep.
So every time you grab different chapters.
Yeah, and I like that too, because every time we played it, we played with different chapters.
Right.
And now if we, run out those chapters and go back to the first ones, I'm going to remember everything.
Yeah, and I did notice that 2 of the situations were similar. Mm-hmm. When it actually pretty much the exact same when it came up to the point where choose someone to do this.
Yeah.
However, the result was different.
Yeah.
So now the first time we played it just her and I.
Yep.
And then later we played it with our gaming group that we like to sample out games. I do think you need to find the right people to play this.
Yes.
People we have some friends that just have to win.
Yes.
They have to win or they have to play a certain type of heavy game.
Yeah.
And it's
this is not the game for that.
We won't ever bring it out around that.
Can I tell you also, when I played it with the 4 of us, because you get character cards too.
Right.
And so when I played it, you and I, my character thing, I didn't play because it wouldn't have helped us when there was 2 of us.
Yep.
But when there was 4 of us, I could play it, and I ended up killing Misty, right? Because that was what my character card did, and I could do that because there are 4 people. But when there was 2 of us, that made no point.
She was a little bit annoyed.
She was a little.
She's like, we're in our second room of the house, and we're like, you're going to love this game. And then Alex kills her in the second room, and Misty's like, so what does that mean? We're like, you're dead. And she's like, it was a blast. But then you can also play through the rest of the rooms as a ghost.
Yes.
And there's things you can do. So she
liked that. And then she ended up killing me as a ghost.
I think we all died in that one.
Well, she killed me first.
Yeah. Well, you're the one that killed her. So
I know.
Makes sense.
So it made sense. I know. That's why I'm like, it's fine. But it was really fun. Like, I could be aggressive, but you have to be aggressive with the right type of people.
You do.
Like, that's a good thing with Misty. You can be aggressive to her and she's not going to go cry in a corner.
Right.
But then there are other people who play games with that you can't be aggressive to because they will go cry in a corner.
Yeah,
so
why are you picking on me?
Yeah.
But it was very fun. And now my review is even getting more and more positive because this experience that we've had through this game is very, it shows how much we liked it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what gaming is about. So I recommend this game. Now, I will say one downside is it is overpriced.
Yes. I did not realize how expensive it was.
It is a $40 game. This should be a $20 game.
It should be. For a mat, 6 dice, and a stack of cards, it should be a $25. I'd pay $25 for it.
Yeah. That's
not $40.
No.
I was like, I did not realize we paid $40 for this. Oof,
yeah. And that is why I did not get it at Gen Con. But I think I ended up getting it from Game Nerds for, like 38.
I think it was on sale, so we got it.
But
I think we got it for $35.
I recommend this, but it is a soft recommendation. It is not worth $40.
No.
However, it is a fun game. So if you can find it
on sale,
or if you just have $40 to blow, you will enjoy it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
This is a recommendation.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. It's a great game. Just $40.
And our recommendation to Everything Epic is kind of lower the price, guys.
Yes.
Yeah, because you would sell a lot of these if you just lowered the price.
Yeah.
But anyway, all right. So that is Grindhouse. So next, we're going to review a different game that actually was not purchased by us.
No.
It was purchased by another couple that we went to Gen Con with called Anomia.
Yes. This is completely different to Grindhouse, by the way, because this is such a fun, it's a party game, right?
It is. It is a party game.
It is 3 to 6 players. It came out in 2010. I didn't realize it was a slightly older game. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's bad that a game 11 years old is a older game, but whatever.
I know, right?
Yeah, yeah.
It's fun. Okay, the whole thing, here's the concept. I wouldn't consider it a party game because there's only
not with 6 players.
6 players, but it's a light game. They say
it's a fun, like, end of night game.
That's exactly.
That's how I would.
It's a good filler, and it's very
filler.
small.
Yeah.
And pretty much the thing is, everyone puts a card in front of them, all right? And it might say something like horror movie. Somebody else puts something in front of them and might say
restaurant.
But they each have a symbol.
Yeah.
Okay? So as you flip, put it in front of you. If your symbol matches someone else's, like say Alex has one that has a plus and it says restaurant.
Yes.
I flip one over that says plus and says actor.
Yes.
I then have to say restaurant. Because now that we match, one person is going to get the other person's card.
Yeah.
So you have to look at the other person's card and say what corresponds with theirs.
Yeah.
Like
so you're always looking at what cards are being turned over, knowing what your symbol is, because you've got to say the name on the other person's card if the symbol matches.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Oof. And then it's very interesting because the first round I was like, I don't think I like this game. It's kind of silly, but people start getting stacks because sometimes things don't match. But here's where the real fun happens and the chaos happens.
Yeah.
Because say a plus matches a plus, you see whatever, you see famous breakfast, you say eggs and bacon, and you take that card. It might reveal another card underneath it that then matches somebody else.
Yes.
That person is then going to see that, and they're going to say, Robert De Niro, and they take it. Then it might match something else.
Yeah.
And then this snowball effect of everyone shouting out and grabbing cards, and it's kind of like it's just chaos for that couple moments, and you just have to laugh.
Oh, and that's what makes it fun. That snowballing effect that happens later on in the game. Yeah.
It also shows me the parts of my life that I need to spend more attention on because, like, all of our lives, really, jazz musicians stayed out forever. Yeah. It's like, I don't know any jazz musicians. No. I'm like, I think somebody came up with one eventually. They named like a friend that plays the saxophone. Yeah. So we're like, I'll allow it. Yeah. But so it's really fun because it gets that chaos, boom, 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 boom. And then at the very end, you count up whoever has the most cards. Yep. So that is Anomia. It's one of those Mensa Select games, which are hit or miss. Yep. But it's really it's a fun game.
It's a great game.
And it's priced very low. I mean, it's probably like I think it's $14.
Good price for a game.
Yeah. So it's a nice filler game. Throw in there into the night. Just play it. And at first we were sitting. Towards the end, we were all standing.
Yes.
And it was just like boom, boom, boom.
I came in the second round. You guys already played around, and I came in the second round.
And she came in because she heard everyone laughing and screaming.
Yeah. I was trying to get Juliet ready for bed, and there was so much noise happening. I was like, well, now I need to see what's happening.
I know.
And so Juliet, I think I told to sit on the couch or something, and I came in, and then I was like, okay, hold on. We can hold off on that bath. I want to play this game.
It was so good.
Yeah, it's a great, that was just a fun filler. Nice way to end the night. Yep. When you just want to end with some laughs.
Yeah, and we were not going to get it. Actually, we're not going to get it until like an hour before this podcast because our friends Kyle and Tori in our gaming group have it. But now we realized we need a copy too. For $12, might as well. So we're going to grab it.
Yeah.
Now we're going to review something from our Shelf of Shame. Ooh. Now we were going to review Abomination. However, we're going to play it again tonight.
Yes.
Because with Abomination, although it's sat on our Shelf of Shame, there have been variations come out. There have been the Igor rules and the Prometheus rules. Yep. Igor is one of those adaptations that make it a bit shorter from the publisher. And that kind of is how you play it. And you have a shorter thing.
Which is how we played it the first time, correct?
Right. And then Prometheus is one released by the designer.
Yep.
However, you need to do some print and play things. We played Prometheus, and we're going to play a couple of other ones, and we're going to see what we like best. So before we review Abomination, I want to kind of let you know which one we like better. Yeah. But that does not mean we don't have a Shelf of Shame to review.
No, we do.
We are going to review On Tour.
Yes. Yes.
Now, On Tour is a roll and write.
Yep.
And it is, you are efficiently planning your touring routes across the United States to visit the most regions.
Yep.
That is the kind of tagline that it says.
Yep.
Pretty much what is going to happen is you've got a map of the U.S.
Yep.
And they're going to turn over 2 cards.
Yep.
No, they roll a die, don't they?
No, it's cards.
No, it's 2 cards. Yeah,
2 cards.
It is. So I guess it's not a roll and write.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I just had it was a writing game, but yes.
Flip and write. There we go. Flip and write.
Flip and write.
So you're going to flip over, and the whole thing is there are circles all over the U.S., or they have different maps as well.
Yep.
And
I think the other one's Europe and Russia or something. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So you're going to go from one city to the next, but you have to go in ascending or descending order, of course, from where you start your tour. So you're going to go from 95 to 92 to 89 to whatever, and you're going to keep going like that. And you have to make the longest trip possible because you might get stuck in a state where you can't go anywhere else. So when they flip, you're going to then see maybe 43, and then you're going to see Indiana and Midwest. So what's interesting is if you can put that 43, so the 40, like if you take the 43 and you put it in the Midwest, you can put any of those states you want. Now, there are several cards up. You just have one option.
Yep.
You have several options. However, if you can put that 43 exactly in Indiana, you get to circle it, and you get an extra point.
Bonus.
At the end. You get a bonus.
Yeah.
Now, the first time we played that, I did not realize how much those add up. Because that pretty much, if you can circle everything, that doubles your route. All right? So, that is pretty much, you can look at how it's played, but it's very simple. And it's very easy to have several people playing it.
Yeah.
And it says 1 to 4 players. You can play with a lot more.
There's an expansion that the second edition came out with 8.
Is ours 8?
I have no idea what edition we have.
Okay. Well, we own it and a couple other people own it. So
Yeah.
we have actually gotten it together to play larger.
Yep.
To play the larger groups with
Yep.
that. Because you could do it Welcome To style.
Yes.
Where you have 100 people if you want to.
If they all have the same map, you can all just...
Right. Which I do like.
Yeah.
These are dry erase and not like Welcome To, where they're just like rip off piece of papers.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've
Whatever,
laminated ours.
details.
It's fine. But anyway, so On Tour. I liked it. What did you think about it?
I really like this game. It was really fun. I must admit, I really liked it, but I did really badly every time with it.
She did.
Just because I felt like those middle numbers, I would nail like numbers around the 80s and 90s. I would have them grouped together, and then I'd have the single digits and then the numbers in the tens grouped together. But
Right.
the numbers in between, they would get me every time, and they would just mess up my route, and then I was done.
That
right
is
there.
the first time I played it. I did terrible.
Yeah.
Second time we played with the group that came, the couple that came. They play it 1-on-1 a lot.
Yes.
So they killed us all.
They also said there's an app, and they will play on the app, and they said they became very good because they were playing it all the time on the app.
But then I realized too that Tori, you end up playing the odds a bit.
Yes.
And at one point, the odds just did not go in her favor.
Yes.
And she ended up just getting stuck
Yeah.
midway through the country.
Yeah.
And I think her score is very low.
Yeah.
And you are playing the odds because at
Yes.
first I forgot the odds. I'm like, you know what? I'll probably have one below 9.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get something below 9.
Yeah.
But or in your region too. So there's a lot of strategy that goes into it, and as far as placing all that stuff.
Yeah.
One thing about it is
I do like it. It is very strategic. There is
It's
a lot of
very
thought
strategic.
to it.
Yes.
That's kind of the thing, too. This is, I'm not sure. What does the weight say on BGG?
it was like 1, I think.
But there is a lot of thought that you do have to think about where you're placing stuff.
1.4, I think,
Yeah,
is what the weight is.
1.49.
Yeah, it's pretty light.
It is very light, but there's some strategy there.
Yeah, one thing that I noticed, though, it's an easy game to inadvertently or advertently cheat.
Yes.
Because there were a couple times, you know what? I like to believe I'm an honest person.
Yeah.
But I really needed one state. And like, if I could get a 43 in that state, and I realized that state was not in the South region, it is like right across the border. I'm like, if I write this number right there,
Yeah.
no one will know.
You do need to make sure you're playing with people who you know are honest.
Yeah. And honestly,
Yeah.
not just that. Sometimes it's so close. Some of the regions are like light yellow to medium yellow.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, give me a bit more colors than that.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that is one thing I wish the board is a bit different colored so you can actually see and differentiate those regions a bit
Yeah, I did
easier.
have trouble when they would do the lines of the South states.
Right.
I would forget what would be a South state just because I don't think I know my states.
Yeah,
all that
because
well.
you're from
And so I was like, hang on, I think India. No, it was Illinois. I'm like, I think that's it. And then I realized it's not. It's in the north. I realized that, but you know, I would get a little like, what? So
well, you've only been in the U.S. for 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's just, but yeah, and that's something else too. Like there are certain that are like dark green and light green, and there's like light yellow and kind of dark yellow, and then there's orange, and it's like the colors could differentiate a bit more on that. But I know they wanted to match the cover and make it that clever, but I do wish that happened. But on tour, I was pleasantly surprised.
Like I said, even though I did terribly, I still loved this game.
I do too.
I'm excited to play it again.
Yeah, you know what? We might bring it out tonight.
I'm hoping we will.
Yeah. So on tour, we like to say shelf, store, or sell.
Oh, it's a shelf.
It is a shelf.
Yeah, definitely.
It is a shelf.
It's a keeper.
Wait, is it in our game room shelf or is it the other shelf?
It's the other shelf.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Controversy.
Oh, really?
So,
you were going to bring it in here?
No, I don't know. We have Welcome To in here. I don't know if this replaces Welcome To or not. With a smaller group, I think it would.
True. Yeah, but, if we had a smaller group, we would play on tour over Welcome To.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't know. It's iffy. I think On Tour is a simpler game than Welcome To. I think Welcome To is simple, but then there are a lot of rules that people can get stressed and bogged down by. And weight-wise, I'm actually looking, Welcome To is 1.8. Yeah, there's not much of a difference there.
No.
1.5, 1.8. But, I like On Tour. It's very simple. So, okay, so those are our 3 reviews for this month.
Yeah.
And
what?
let us...
You mean this week?
Sorry, this week, yes. Sorry. This week. All right, so let us know it down in the comments or email us and let us know what you guys think about these. Also, if you've played Abomination, email us at show@mainlygames.com and let us know your thoughts and your favorite variation. Or if you're hardcore and you stick to the original one. Ooh. So let us know about that.
Okay, yeah, let us know.
But now we're going to talk about our tips for game night.
Yeah.
Now, these are 10 tips for game night. We are not numbering them. And the reason we're not numbering them is because I feel like when you number things, even if you say that you're not doing it by importance, it still has a kind of importance feel.
Yeah.
So these are just 10 different tips for game night that I think are all equally important. That's probably not true either. Some are probably more important than the others. However, yeah, these are just 10 tips for game night.
They're just here to help you when you want to do a game night coming up.
Yeah.
Yep, lots of reasons with Thanksgiving and Christmas coming up, you know.
Yeah, and just do a game night, get people together. It could be a group of your friends. It could be a group of your gaming friends.
Yep.
Or it could be your family.
Yep.
You know, sometimes I consider when my family gets together, I consider it to be a party game night.
Yeah.
Because I don't want people just to sit around and stare at each other. That is why I like gamers. Because I've been to parties at people's houses where there's nothing planned at all.
Yeah.
And they just decide to put on music. And you sit there and drink and eat. And you stare at each other and you make awkward conversation.
Yes.
And you're like, hey, do you like sports? No. Do you like movies? No. Whew. It's going to be a long one.
Yeah. Going to be a rough night.
So it's just, or you start talking about work all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why I think games like this go well. So now, that being said, here are some tips. Now I'm going to break the first rule I just made. This is one of my biggest tips.
Yeah.
Because it trickles down into all the other tips we have.
Yep.
And that is to take a word from the show Friends, pivot.
Yep.
You've got to be able to pivot. You've got to be flexible.
I was going to say Sunday night for Halloween was like the perfect example of that.
Right.
We had a lot of plans for that night, but we did take an hour and a half trick-or-treating because we had little legs leading the way.
Exactly.
That did change everything.
And we knew we couldn't get an actual head count. I think our head count was going to be 16, 17. Ended up being closer to 30.
Yep.
You know, because some people didn't think they could make it, then they could make it. And now, we talked about before, on game nights, it's hard to plan. If you plan for 4, then somebody says you want to bring your friend, and you usually have to say, no, it's planned for 4. That's a game night. That's different. Party game nights, sometimes say someone wants to bring their spouse, right? And their spouse isn't a big gamer. But they want to bring their spouse to your house for this party. That's kind of an honor. It's like, hey, you know what? They don't do a lot of stuff, but they want to come
hang
here.
out. Yeah.
So you, of course, have to say, yes, that'll be great.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to pivot if they want to bring different people. So I think that's a big thing. And also pivot in the fact that you probably won't get everything played that you want to get played.
Yeah.
because we had a stack of games.
We did.
Because
we had about 10 games, right?
We did. We were going to have. We were going to break apart into 2 different groups, and we were going to have like Camel Up going into one room. Then we were going to have Detective Club in the other one. Maybe When I Dream. Then we were going to do Wavelength, Pinpoint, different things like that, different places. But the flow of the party didn't really make that easy to do.
No,
because people kind of enjoyed being in the same room. They actually enjoyed each other's company a bit more than we anticipated.
They'd like to hang out with each other.
Yeah,
that was nice.
Which is weird because this is, and we're probably like most of you, that you always have different subsets of friends. You've got friends from work. You've got friends from gaming, maybe friends from church, friends from your family, and you kind of worry. It's like, woof, my 2 worlds are going to mix. And they did, and this time they went great. So everyone wanted to just stay in there, and we ended up playing Time's Up, Name Game, Neanderthals.
Yes.
So there we go. So that right there is... So pivot. That is the biggest thing, is to be flexible in your plans for the night.
This kind of then leads on to the next tip, which was be prepared. So like we said, we had a stack of games we were going to play. And we even had backup games we were going to play. So we were prepared for all the options, which is why we had paper ready for the name game. We had everything ready to go, so we could just,
By paper ready for the name game, that means that we all went trick-or-treating and Chris was behind, and I said, hey, cut these up for the name game. I did forget that. But another thing is being prepared. We had our games pulled out in a stack of games to pull from.
Rather than running around the shelves trying to find the games we were going to play, they were all ready to go, all set up as much as they could, ready to go.
And we had variations that, what if everyone counted and there are 6 of us? Well, we had that contingency plan.
Yeah, we did. We had
so
lots of contingencies.
We had games and backup games to play. And several of them.
Yes.
So there we go. That is be prepared. And then next, it's about the attendees. So we've got pivot, be prepared, and it's about the attendees. So what does that mean? Know that you probably won't be able to play your favorite game.
No.
Or you may not be able to play many games at all. You may have to be able to put out fires, make sure that somebody is looking for a parking, or this drink has ran out, or this, you'll have to get up and move around.
Yeah. You need more silverware.
Right.
The kids are making a mess in the other room.
Exactly.
Whatever has happened, you're there to attend to all those other little things that are happening.
Because, again, these tips are things that have helped us have successful party game nights. What we want is that person to leave saying, you know what? They throw an incredible party.
Yeah.
We don't want... Our goal to be is for us to lay in bed at night and say, we played the game we wanted to play.
Score.
Good night.
Yeah.
We want people to leave thinking, that was great. That was a lot of fun.
They had so much fun.
I can't wait. And that's, so if it takes us running around, putting out fires, coming back every once in a while, hopping in the game, then that's fine. But be flexible to make sure it's about making sure everyone else has a good time.
Yes.
And that you're a good host. And you are the host with the most. I also made that up.
You did?
No, I did not make that up.
I'm just kidding. I have heard that before.
So, all right. So it's about the attendees.
Yep. I guess this rolls on to the next thing. Say goodbye to those heavy 3-hour games.
Yes.
Yeah. You're playing, when you're doing a party, you're playing party games.
You are playing fire. Yeah.
Yes. You're not.
I laughed because we went to one friend who's having like a party game night, right? And I knew there was going to be like 14 people there. And he had out Firefly. And I go, let's see it. He's like, you like that game? I said, I love that game. I said, it's not going to happen though, right?
Yeah.
He's like, well, I don't know, maybe. I said, people might end up just, sitting in the other room doing a movie or something. I'm like, okay, it's probably not going to happen. And spoiler alert.
It didn't happen?
It didn't happen.
No.
But he was totally fine with that.
Yeah.
He was fine with the fact that it didn't happen.
Yeah.
And he probably had it out as a contingency.
Yes.
That if people left early and there were some people left. Actually, that's not true. Because Firefly is one of those, if you leave early, you're like, you know what? Let's crank through a quick game of Firefly or TI4. So, but he had it out.
Yeah.
So you probably aren't going to be able to play those heavy 3-hour games.
Those heavy games for your game night.
Right. Yeah. Right. And
you've got your gaming group and you're playing games. That is what those are for. Yeah.
And we've got one of my closest friends, Dana, is up in North Carolina, and we usually talk before every game night. We talk about what we're going to play and all that stuff. We bounce ideas. And he always has several contingency games that he's going to have. He has different people coming over and he's like, hey, would they like Red Dragon Inn? Do you think this would be too heavy? Do you think this would? And he usually has a game to play with them. And then he goes from there. So having shorter games and filler games is good. And filler games are great.
Filler games are great.
Extra fillers, because sometimes at the end of the night, you know it's a good party if people don't want to leave. Sadly, sometimes you want them to leave. But you have a great idea there. All right. Now, another thing is, this is something we just adopted lately, is an icebreaker game. And that is a bigger game that involves everyone.
Yes. Rather than breaking up into little groups, you know, like you might do 10 and 10, have a game that involves everybody the first time.
Yeah. And you kind of do it at the beginning. And a good icebreaker game has several aspects to it. Number one, it can get everyone knowing each other, their names, and also their personalities. Okay? Another thing is it then also is one that people can come in and out, because different types of people, if your event starts at 6, people are going to show up at 5:45, people are going to show up at 6:30.
Oh, they're going to show up at 7.
Or they're going to show up at 7. Those people, don't worry about too much. You know, they know they're that late. But it's going to be good because people can come in and out. And that's a good icebreaker game. And some of these are party games. And by party games, I mean the real definition of party games. And that is like Time's Up is one of our favorites. Mr. Listers. And the name game. If you don't know the name game is one of the older ones, probably the only commercial game that we do play. You just cut up slices of paper, and everyone writes down 5 famous people, actors, real, fictional, whatever, and put them into a bowl, and you pull it out, and if it's like Abraham Lincoln, you're like, this president got shot, blah, 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 and they say who it is, and you go through as many as you want. That's always a fun one to do because it gets people's personalities out there as well. And you always have, for some reason, one person keeps showing up. Like Spider-Man was the big guy on Halloween. No idea why.
And Iron Man, too. Spider-Man and Iron Man.
Spider-Man and Iron Man. Somebody wrote Calvin Coolidge. And that was one that gets dropped right back in the bucket. So, anyway, those are that's very fun to do. All right. Then the next one.
I was going to say, the next one is to have snacks and drinks and plan for what people want to bring ahead of time. People do get peckish.
They do.
So be prepared. Have stuff. You know, go to Dollar Tree, grab whatever you want. Just have some stuff ready so when people want to eat something, they have something. And
we made a rookie mistake at the beginning when people said, what can we bring? We'd say, oh, nothing, we got it. No. Tell them what to bring. You know?
And I like to be specific.
Yes.
Like, generally, I know I'm going to make like a buffalo mac and cheese, a buffalo chicken dip, and a salad, right? So I kind of know the spicy stuff's taken care of, but I'm very bad at desserts. So I'll tell you to bring dessert. And then I might tell someone else to bring
some chips.
Bring some chips.
Bring drinks. Bring whatever. And then, of course, you just have it out at the bar, at the wherever, and that's where they just go. And it's
people
all
just
sitting
know
out.
The food is there.
Just to let them know what to bring, because people know. People can swing by and make it easy for them. You know, if they don't grab a bag of chips, grab a bag of chips. You know, grab some cookies, grab some cookies. You know? So that's it. So
works.
have snacks, drinks, and plan for people to bring ahead of time.
Definitely.
All right. So then, this is going to be a weird one. Brief your quote-unquote certain guests on what to bring ahead of time. Now, that is, like, we have one certain guest that lets out, he likes heavy games. So much to the point that he lets out a sigh if all of a sudden people are playing Telestrations. And he's like, ugh, okay, I'm going to go, and makes this big scene about how he doesn't like to play Telestrations. It kind of deflates the room. So we always like to brief him that, hey, we are going to be playing party games. So, you know, you may want to stay, you may not. And that's okay. Because if they don't like party games, they might be like, hey, guys, all right, this was fun, I'm going to head out. Or they might not show up.
Also, people, too, that are new to the coming to over for a party, too, who know we play board games. I like to tell them we're going to play some fun games. You're going to like it. Because they're worried we're going to play like a 5-hour game. And they're going to be like stuck in there and their head's going to explode. And like, I like to warn people, too. That, you know, it's going to be fun. It's party games. Just come hang out. Let's, you know,
and they might be intimidated by the pictures they see on our Facebook page. Like, oh, I don't want to do that thing with all the dungeon stuff. It's like, no, this is going to be different. And it's also good for us to gauge, these people will be fun to bring in to other games too. And that's why we also, when they say, this kind of rolls into that. When they say that they like a certain game, we don't say, oh, that's a terrible game.
No.
We say, oh, you like that game? You might also like this game.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? So don't ever say, oh, that's such a simple game. I can't believe you're still playing it.
Yeah.
So that rolls into that. But also brief people like your hardcore gamers that come in, and the majority of them are fine. Say, hey, I know we just played Abomination Tuesday, but on Thursday we probably won't. We'll have a group of people. They'll probably say, oh, okay, cool. You know? So that sounds good. So brief them so they know what to expect coming into it.
Also, have games set up from when you're ready to start playing games. You don't have to do all the prep work. Sometimes with party games, it's hard because people are going to be sitting around. You've got to get people in position and stuff. But do try and set up as much as you can before. It just helps things go over smoother. If you've got all the pens together and you've got all the dry erases together and all that stuff, it helps everything to go well. Yeah, and and that rolls us into our next tip, is having games set up when they're going to start. The next tip is multiple tables and groups are good if you have the space to do it. So if you have 2 rooms, you could have different 6-player games set up on different places. So if you have 12, you could divide into 2 things of 6 if it's the right party for it. Yeah. You could have Camo Up somewhere over here, Detective Club somewhere over there, and everything is already set up. Yes. And I know it's just about maybe 10, 12, 15 minutes to set those up, but there's something nice about walking in and everyone's seeing it set up and seeing chairs. They just grab a chair and sit there, and they go on. And then people get excited, too. They're like, oh, what's this? This game looks good.
Especially Camel Up. I mean, Camel Up's got that palm tree. It's got everything sitting there. And they're like, what is this? Yes. That is a great one. So have them set up. Yeah. And
I was going to say, also have games that people can come in and out of.
Right. And that goes back to the party game thing we mentioned before, is to make sure that there are certain games that you begin with that people can flow in and out of.
Yeah. Just helps things go over smoother.
So there we go. So those are some tips for party game nights. Oh, that's a good way to say it. Tips for party game nights.
There you go. You got it.
Yeah.
Taking us an hour, but we got there.
And it's great to actually do that. It's great because board games, as everyone knows, are on the rise thanks to so many different things. Thanks to social media. Yeah. The fact that people miss people. Yes. And also thanks to places like the Dice Tower that put it more into the forefront of things. So I think that's great. And the more party game nights you can get, the more people you get into the hobby. The more people you get into the hobby, the more money board game manufacturers make. The more money board game manufacturers make, the more board games they produce. The more board games they produce, the more fun we're going to have, and the more stuff is on our shelf.
There you go.
So right there. So those are some great party game night tips.
I hope you find them helpful. If you feel like we forgot something, let us know.
Yes, and as usual, you can email us at show@mainlygames.com. Check out our YouTube channel. We are putting up more and more content there by the week. We just dropped our latest review of Mind Management.
Ooh, good one.
Where we actually went through that. And also you can check us out on Instagram. And please like and subscribe to the podcast down at the bottom and let people know about it.
Tell your friends.
And anything else you want us to review, please let us know.
Definitely.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys. And I'm sorry this was such a long podcast. My goodness.
It was fun, though.
It was fun.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to try to get a second one out to you guys this week.
Oh, pressure.
Whew. All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye.
All right. Bye.